Hello and welcome to another episode of Talmud Talks. I'm your host, Caleb Hendricks. Here we are going to talk about some scripture that will help us, hopefully, in our journey of life as we follow the man, the main man, Jesus. Whoop, whoop. And today we're going to look at Luke 22, pretty much 31 through 34. This is a little section of scripture that can be a bit confusing. First time I read it, I'm like, man, this is some heavy stuff, and I understand none of it. And still I understand some of it. But yeah, let's read it just to start and open it up. It reads Luke 22. Now, this is before Jesus is crucified. Jesus says to Simon Peter, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan demanded to have you, that he might sift you like wheat. So, first, we know that Jesus knows that Satan is demanding to have Simon. I mean, that's sort of amazing to think of in the first place, that Jesus is knowing this, and Satan's able to at least talk to him, or in some way like communicate, or Jesus knows this, that Satan wants him. But and then he says, but I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers. Now, here's the question, okay? Do Jesus's prayers ever go unanswered? Does Jesus ever lose? Is it even possible for Jesus to ever lose? I don't think so. Now, if Jesus's prayers never go unanswered, this leaves us with a question about Simon's faith, and what is failing faith and what is not failing faith. Because you see, he says, but I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. Now we know later on, and he says, Peter said to him, Lord, I am ready to go with you both to prison and to death. So this is Peter. He's saying this. And probably at the time, he's probably serious with what he thinks his own estimation of himself is. But Jesus said, I tell you, Peter, the rooster will not crow this day until you deny 3 times that you know me. So Peter denied Jesus 3 times. But it says that Peter was prayed for by Jesus that his faith would not fail. So then, according to this, is the denial of Jesus 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Is the denial of Jesus 3 times a failing of faith? That's a hard question, right? But it's a fair question. I like to ask fair questions. I would say no. And the question I have then is, what is failing faith? Judas would probably be a picture of that, from what I would look at. But also I want to look a little bit about the exchanges here. There are some exchanges that happen here. Satan demands to have Simon. And I think in some form or fashion, in some portion, Satan does get his claws, whatever, on Simon, and that he might sift him. Now that's a funny word. The word sift like wheat. Now what is sifting wheat? And there's a couple different ways, but here in this type of sifting, what is looked at is almost like a if a person has a screen, right? and like lattice work almost, and you have a wheat, and there's the heavier portion, and then there's the chaff around it. Now the chaff is not good for eating. You know, it's good to be it's good to be burned. But Satan demands to do the sifting. So here's what's really interesting. I think God lets Satan do the sifting here, because in this sifting, all Satan's left with at the end is the chaff on the top. And what God gets is the life-giving portion that was already there in Simon and Peter, that Jesus has put in there. The life-giving portion of the seed is the heavier portion, which heaviness is associated with glory, but it's the heavier portion that falls down through the bottom, which is what God really wants from us anyways, the life-giving heavier portion. So Satan's left with a bunch of chaff in his hand, and Jesus is left with a cleaned out Simon Peter. Pretty genius, I think. But in all that, there's this crazy exchange where Jesus says, "But hey, I've already prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned again, strengthen your brothers." So he says, you're going to turn again. You've already turned to me once. And yeah, you are going to go the wrong way for a bit. But when you have turned again, because I have prayed for you, when you do that, strengthen your brothers. So guys, did Peter's faith fail? I'm not willing to say that Jesus ever loses in prayer. I'm just not willing to make that call. And I'm going to say that no, Peter's faith did not fail. So it's amazing, just because of Jesus's prayers, what actually is and what isn't failing faith. You see, it's because of Jesus's intercession for Peter. He says, "I've already prayed for you that your faith will not fail. I already know what's going to happen. I've already dealt with all of this. You're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows, but I've already dealt with it. And when you are turned again, strengthen your brothers, because I've already put something in you that's not dependent on necessarily how faithful you are. Your faith is not based now on how faithful you are. Your faith is now based on the prayers that Jesus is praying for you. So from earth, it looks like Peter's faith failed. But from heaven, they say, well, Jesus is praying. Can't do anything. This is done. It's a done deal. And Peter is found to have faith that did not fail. So this is sometimes in our lives we have these exchanges where it seems like things are horrible, but it's actually, sometimes I would say that perhaps God is letting Satan take some of the chaff off of us. So just be encouraged if you're in that season, and remember that Jesus himself is making intercession for you, just like he does for Peter. Until next time, God bless you.